Hello beings of light, today's experience was sent by Andrea, a fictitious name. She says that after a car accident she found herself in the light and had a life review, as well as visions of the future. Let's get to know her story. I had my near-death experience in 2015, during which I was shown many things that I believe will happen in the future. At first I had no idea what I was seeing, but over the past few years I've been able to connect the dots and see the bigger picture emerge. I wish I could give specific dates for each of these things, but I didn't receive that information. As I said at first, I had no idea what I was seeing. My near-death experience happened when I was just 18 years old. I went to a party with my boyfriend Mike, an end-of-summer party, a final get-together before each of us headed off to college or into the workforce. At the party, Mike got quite drunk, even though he knew I hated when he drank. When it was time to leave, I refused to get back in the car with him. The friend hosting the party offered to let me sleep there, but I knew my parents would freak out if I didn't come home. I still lived there and knew the rules. So I started asking for another ride. A friend came to the rescue saying I could go with her and her boyfriend if I didn't mind sitting in the back of his truck. I didn't mind. They were sober, so I had no worries that I would get home safely, which was much more than I could say if I had gone with Mike. On the way home, her boyfriend Jim stopped at a 24-hour convenience store to pick up a gas station pizza. Then we headed toward my house, which was another 10 miles down a poorly lit, 2-lane road. We didn't get far when Jim made a turn and saw headlights in our lane. I don't remember much after that, other than finding myself lying by the roadside in a lot of pain. The collision had thrown me out of the truck bed, which probably saved my life. I blacked out for a while, and when I woke up, I could see emergency vehicle lights and police officers working the scene. I started screaming for help, and an officer ran over to me, shouting to someone that he had another victim and needed paramedics. I was so grateful he was there and didn't let him leave my side until I was in the ambulance. At the hospital, doctors said I was going into surgery. I was given something in my IV that made me pass out. This was my first surgery, but I have to say, once unconscious, I didn't feel a thing. The pain I had felt moments before vanished. I didn't even know I existed until I heard a loud pop and found myself looking down at my body as the surgeon shouted that my pulse was dropping and called for a crash cart. Interestingly, this didn't scare me. It felt like I was watching it happen to someone else. I didn't feel that the body was mine. How could it be if I was right there, above it? I decided to explore more and floated through the hospital corridors, discovering that I could pass through walls. I accidentally entered a storage room full of hospital sheets and blankets. Next, I went to the emergency room lobby, where I saw my mom crying as my dad tried to reassure her, saying everything would be okay. Looking back, I think I should have felt empathy for what my mom was going through, but at the time I thought she would be fine with time. I decided to check on my body again and floated back to the operating room, where the surgeon was trying to revive me. That's when I noticed a tunnel appearing above the table, and curiosity got the best of me. I had to see what was inside. The inside of the tunnel was dark, but I felt no fear. I floated through it, being pulled along at an ever-increasing speed. I thought Mike would have loved this. Further ahead, I saw a light appear in the distance and wondered what it could be. The closer I got, the larger the light grew until it occupied almost all my vision. Reaching the light was an experience in itself. Not knowing what to expect, I had no preconceived notions of how I should feel. On Earth, I was only 18 years old and had never heard of anyone going to the light before. However, I found myself in this light, and there are no words to describe it accurately, but I'll try. It's brighter than our sun, but doesn't hurt the eyes. It radiates a love millions of times greater than anything you can imagine. When I arrived, I felt as if I was connecting to the light, being welcomed with a message of peace. The light calmed me, and after that, informed me, without words, that I would have a life review before proceeding. The life review is an intense experience. I saw my life on Earth from beginning to end. I watched my birth, my death, and everything in between. I felt every good or bad emotion I had ever caused someone, from their point of view, while reliving it from my own perspective. I found that many times when I thought I was right, I was wrong, and things I said or did caused emotional pain to others. I felt their pain. The life review wasn't entirely negative. The moments when I brought joy to someone were also shown, and I felt that too. It was like being on an emotional roller coaster, not knowing when it would start or end, having no idea of the twists and turns to come. When the life review ended, I thought the next step would be judgment. I didn't know if that meant heaven or hell for me, but I was expecting one of the two. Suddenly, my mind was flooded with horrible images that I couldn't stop and didn't understand. I don't know how long it lasted, but when it was over, I almost spoke to myself, asking what that was. A voice behind me responded, powerful and gentle at the same time. These are things that will come before your true judgment. The voice told me I would be sent back because it wasn't my time. I had no choice, as I wouldn't have chosen to return. I came back to my body through the same tunnel and re-entered with force. When I woke up, I saw my parents in the hospital room. That's when I learned that I was the only survivor of the accident. The driver of the vehicle that hit us was drunk. It wasn't Mike. He is alive with a wife and child in Indiana. The doctors performed intensive repairs to save my life. I had a ruptured spleen, and they corrected several points of internal bleeding. I also had fluid buildup in my brain that had to be relieved by opening my skull. In the middle of the surgery, I suffered cardiac arrest and was without a pulse for over 4 minutes. The doctor said recovery would be long, but the worst was over. I stayed in the hospital for over a month before going home. Once home, I started writing down everything I had been shown. I wanted to remember it all. Over time, I thought about it less until I saw the Capitol building on January 6th. That was the first of my visions, for lack of a better word, as I'm not a seer. What follows are the other things I was shown and my interpretation of them. I'll only know if I interpreted them correctly when they happen. I warn now, none of them are good, and I don't know if they can be changed. I guess time will tell. I saw the global economy collapse when China tries to collect the U.S. debt. Then I saw World War III initiated by the economic collapse. Contrary to popular belief, I didn't see nuclear weapons. I saw governments fighting civil wars against their own people globally as the impoverished cried, "Enough," and removed the elites from power by force. I saw riots worldwide, and it seemed that no place was immune to the violence. Although civilians had taken control back, they now fought against those who wanted to seize power. I saw people being confined in barbed wire pens and population control being imposed as global law. I don't know the reason for this. I just know it happened. I saw people starving in cities devastated by fighting. The world turned into a war zone where food was the currency. I want to emphasize that I am not a seer, and these are my own interpretations of what I saw. I've never told anyone about my NDE because I don't want them to think I'm crazy or that I can see the future. I can only speak about what I was shown, and even then, my interpretation could be wrong. Again, I don't know the dates when these things will happen. I was surprised when January 6th happened. I am sending my experience now, hoping that your channel can help spread the word before it's too late and we follow an irreversible path. Thank you for listening to Andrea's entire experience. I hope in some way it has helped you. We continue to seek more knowledge of what lies beyond life. Our goal is to bring hope to all who can hear us. I'll leave it here and see you in the next video.